What's going on, Five Night Gaming crew? Lethal One up here, joined by the Platinum Chin to take a closer look into Capcom's upcoming title, Resident Evil Village, or you could just say Resident Evil 8. Now, let me ask you real quick before we get more into this, Platinum Chin. Are you hyped for this game?
I am beyond hype. I'm a huge fan of
Nice.
Resident Evil, so I'm ready for this game to come.
Dude, it looks so good. It looks so good.
So good.
Okay. So now that we have a trailer set to release this week, if you guys don't already know, they're going to have another trailer that I think talks about some of the gameplay. It just goes more into the story of what Resident Evil Village is going to be about. That should be coming on the 21st. So what we're kind of doing here is we want to just peek more into the current information that we do have available, kind of just go over like what we have for any of the trailers and just kind of the images and kind of put it all together and to get some couple questions out and just talk about it basically. So before we talk about the latest trailer, here's a little description of the game that we pretty much have so far. So according to the official Resident Evil Village website, Resident Evil Village would be the next major entry in the Resident Evil series, coming in at number 8. So let me ask you real quick, Platinum Chin. The Platinum Chin. Did you think they would make it this far in the current mainline story? And let me add on to that and say, are you still kind of captivated by this Resident Evil magic? And I'll just real quick, just to put my little 2 cents in, I'm shocked, dude, because there's been so many different Resident Evil games, and I feel like they've done some remakes. I feel like that first one they did was more like a remaster. If I feel like the enemies, they switch it up. I never know what to expect from these games. They're all different types of enemies, but I still love the characters. They're still great. So give me your thoughts, man. You still liking Resident Evil?
I'm liking it more than I ever have. I really
Nice.
thought my favorites were Resident Evil 4 and 5. I think those are great games to get into because that really revitalized the series. But I thought it felt like the series was kind of dying after Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil Raccoon City. It felt like, this might be the end of Resident Evil. I don't know how hype I can be for games coming forward after those releases, but like the remaster of 1 was nice. It was nice to get an upscaled version of the game, but it exploded with Resident Evil 2 Remake. I mean, I played that game to no end. Yeah. I mean, I'm still, any game that comes out after that, I'm here for. I'm absolutely here for.
Yeah, I just to add a little bit more to that too, I think for me, another thing too, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it too. There was a point where I kind of felt like the Resident Evil games from kind of when I was little, right? Because like when the first one came out, I was like a kid, dude. I just remember watching like my uncles play it pretty much. Mm-hmm. But it was, to me, it was horror. It was like scary, I was like terrified to see what was going to happen behind the door. So I always kind of felt like, the Resident Evil series went into this direction where it got a little bit more action-y. And I didn't feel as scary anymore. It kind of just felt like I was doing some Superman punches with Chris. I was doing some flip kicks, I think, with Jill or maybe another character. It was getting a little kind of different, but I mean, I don't know. Is that something that like didn't bother you at all? Or did you kind of were you all for it pretty much?
Well, it didn't totally bother me in number 5 per se. I almost thought the rock punching was comical, but I love Wesker, so I loved the story in number 5 still. I love the return of Wesker in that battle. 4 I think had the right pacing, the right horror feel mixed with that new action feel. 6 kind of derailed it for me. There just wasn't enough of that feeling, but after playing something like Resident Evil 7, getting a new first-person feel, especially after we didn't end up getting that PT Silent Hill first-person game. So another wonderful first-person horror to come into the mix. Resident Evil 7 like hit that horror love string in my heart, and it was, it's pretty good. I think it's doing better than ever with horror too, especially with the remakes that have been coming out. I think they're really finding their groove again.
Dude, I couldn't agree more, especially with how 7 went and how Village is looking to go. 100%. All right, so let's move on a little bit here. So basically, we'll continue with what we were learning from the website, right? So Resident Evil Village takes place after the events of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, where Ethan Winters has continued life after heroically saving his wife, putting the past kind of behind and just like, they're just living now. Let me ask you, the Platinum Chin, would you consider yourself a fan of Ethan? You know, this is the average husband, right? I mean, to my knowledge, there's no big affiliation with him to any of the big corporations or teams there, like, you know, Umbrella, for example. I mean, like I said, we haven't seen him do any types of crazy like bullet dodges, any crazy jumps. I don't know, anything crazy. Just want to know, he seems like he's the protagonist of this game, so are you down with that? Do you like Ethan? What are your thoughts on him? I mean, I think he's okay, so definitely give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm okay with him being the protagonist because I felt like we didn't get enough to, and it's hard to say because we got a full game as him as the protagonist, but we didn't get enough to really get involved with the character, because when I played Resident Evil 7, I played it in VR. So for me, it was nice. I was the character, so I felt more into the game rather than me being Ethan inside the game. And I think some fans will probably feel the same way if they had played it in VR too. So I'm okay with him being the protagonist because I'm hoping Resident Evil 8 can kind of flip that for me and have him grow into someone that I'm just like, when I think of Resident Evil, I want to be able to think of Ethan as much as I think of Chris and Leon and Claire and all that.
No, I totally agree. And I'm glad you kind of brought up that point. That's actually a good point. Because, like, you know, I also kind of thought of, like, Ethan's character kind of as, like, me. Because I kind of feel like that was their way of, like, making it, again, kind of just taking it back to the roots of, like, kind of remembering that, like, hey, this is a horror franchise kind of. So I definitely I like that point you made, you know, with Ethan, like, maybe you were, especially in the VR, that you kind of felt like you were him. And I kind of think that, like, kind of the good direction that maybe they're really trying to push to have the player feel like you are Ethan, because you are just like this average guy, at least to that I know. I say he's average because, like, I haven't seen him do anything crazy. I mean, I shouldn't say he has been taking, like, some types of crazy brutal damage from, what was it, the Baker family. Yeah. So, like, he's done some superhuman possible things, but, you know, for the most part, I think he's just like your average guy. But no, that was a cool thing you mentioned. I like that makes a lot of sense.
And you know, it's funny that you say you know, he just the point of him being you. I was watching an interview with Morimasa Sato, the director of, I believe he was the director of 7 as well as this current one now. Okay. And he was saying when they were creating the game, they didn't have Ethan as a full-fledged character. He was supposed to be kind of that placeholder so that you could feel involved in the game. But as they were making the game, they thought, no, we want this guy to be a character. And I think they did a decent job. But, you know, at the same time, the feelings that I have, and I'm sure other fans have, and you had, that you kind of felt more as the character rather than feeling as Ethan.
Hey, it's interesting. Yeah, good, dude. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. All right, let's go into a little bit more now. Now, before we jump, pretty much the story kind of goes here where we start jumping into Chris Redfield, but that's kind of where the description kind of ends it. But I want to take a couple moments out from the trailer and some of the images that I saw and kind of just speculate on some of that. So basically, right, the trailer that I saw, and there's a couple of trailers out there, I think. Maybe there's some new ones now, but for the announcement trailer, I think just another one that was sort of just a little bit different from the announcement. You basically start off with kind of like story time with Mia, which I think it's Mia that's talking. Basically, you start getting a collage of just different clips. They hit you with a bunch of things. I mean, you get a view of this like new village. It's definitely like in the winter season, and there's this giant castle at the top that I think kind of it's a big. I think it's an important place, an important setting to the game. You get first-person view of walking at nighttime. I'm not sure exactly who you are, but you do get that. You get symbols like birds. There's one that looks like it's like a fetus, I think. It looks like there's even some puzzles they kind of show you. You get even a quick glimpse at a baby. And it, you know, starts to make me think like, you know, this is a story time thing. Maybe this baby has something to do with the story. Is it possible that it's Ethan and Mia's? They even show the umbrella symbol. It looks like there's witches, that there's cults. Listen, the Platinum Chin, I'll stop here because that's a lot. I just said a bunch of different things. So let me just ask you, man, do you think this is a lot? You think this is kind of crazy? Is this Resident Evil to you? Give me your thoughts, man.
It's interesting because it's the cultish feel gives me sort of a Resident Evil 4 vibe. I mean, when you're going into, I think it was Eastern Europe is where Leon was sent, trying to save the president's daughter, and that kind of religious cult-like, creepy, ominous feel is kind of about it. So while that's not mainstay in Resident Evil, where you're more used to biohazard creatures and zombies and tyrants and stuff, they make it fit, at least just in this trailer. I am completely on board with it. I can completely be like, that is Resident Evil. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was thinking, this has to be Bloodborne. This is crazy. Bloodborne 2 is coming, confirmed. And then as it got on, I was like, no, this is definitely Resident Evil. They really capture it. And when it said Village at the end, I was like, I knew it. Resident Evil. This is they've definitely made it feel that way. And honestly, I'm juiced.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Pretty much everything that you said is kind of what I would say. I mean, I think for me, the big giveaway was when I saw like the umbrella. I think it was like the umbrella symbol, but it looks like it was in a puzzle. I was like, oh damn! I was like, this is definitely Resident Evil. But yeah, there's a bunch of things where I was like I didn't know what it was at first. But you know, when I think about it as well, I think of Resident Evil, and it went in so many different directions. You know, like I remember in the beginning it was kind of just zombies, right? But then you had, I think it was like those liquor guys, the guys with the big tongues.
Yeah,
like,
you got the liquors.
You had Nemesis, like.
Yeah.
Like what am I thinking? Like, dude, yeah, you got all types of enemies here. So in fact, that kind of brings me into my next thing here. So let's continue a little bit. New enemies are kind of shown in this. I mean, you look like there's your normal zombie, but like villagers. And then you see there's a moment where it's a real quick glimpse of like this big, huge hammer guy just like dropping down, I think from like the top of a house or something like that. They goes and it also kind of pans into like a quick little collage of like this giant lady that's like kind of trending on the internet as like this pretty vampire witch who people are saying that she looks like she's eating the character's hand. I don't know exactly, but not just that, dude. There's a werewolf. There's a werewolf zombie. It looks like it's pretty wild, dude. Like, let me ask you, are you surprised by this cast of enemies? I mean, again, we kind of just went into that a little bit there, but I mean, it's so like vast. It's crazy. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, enemies specifically. When Resident Evil, you think of zombies, like you said. So werewolves is definitely taking a step in a different direction. But in regular Resident Evil fashion, I am so sure that through probably little notes you find or certain things that you read, it's going to explain exactly why, and it's somehow going to make sense. And you're gonna be able to accept it. I'm totally, again, it's Resident Evil. I'm ready for something new, something exciting. I love the remakes, I really do, but I also love them venturing into original territory and seeing werewolf, zombies, giant dudes with hammers. I don't know. I'm a little surprised, but I'm not upset by it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add to that because, like, I totally agree. If anything, it's like you said, like, you know, I'm excited for it. Like, new enemies, figure out how you can take these guys down. Which one was it? Oh my god, is his name the Tyrant? Was it from Resident Evil 2?
Resident Evil 2.
They got a guy that follows you. So, like, a lot of people are saying, like, this witch lady, because she's really tall, and I think there's even a moment where they capture her going through a door, like, she's just, like, I don't know, like, she has to crouch because she's so tall. But people are saying that, like, it looks like she's going to be the Tyrant of this game, kind of
terrifying,
where she'll follow you. So yeah, that's terrifying, and I'm like, yo, that's exciting. Like, hell yeah, man, that's Resident Evil for you. You know, to still keep some of those classic things, bring it back. You know, switch it up, new characters, new enemies. Dude, I'm all for it. All right, let me see. Okay. Let's go up into basically kind of the ending here now. So basically, we're going to end this with Chris Redfield. Chris returns to Resident Evil Village, where we see him apologizing to Ethan. He just unloads a whole clip on Mia, basically, Ethan's wife. At least I'm pretty sure that's who that was. But like right in front of Ethan. Now, in the second trailer, it also showed that Ethan was confused. And then you also see him just get bombarded by soldiers and eventually ordered by Chris to be taken. People are also like kind of speculating and saying that like Ethan's wife was already shot. He was just kind of finishing it. So, I mean, we don't know the full context there. But pretty much, you know, this Chris that we're seeing here, he's clearly darker. And not just that, but it's clear as day that it's also a new character model for Chris. So, like, the Platinum Chin, let me ask you, dude, are you a fan of this new Chris? And what do you think his tie into story will be? Now, real quick, let me just add in there. There's that trending quote from the trailer that says, his story comes to a close. Everybody's tying this into Chris because we just got Ethan. I get nervous because I'm a big fan of Chris. But let me get your thoughts first, man.
Well, first of all, they have some explaining to do on how Chris turned in to this thick boy coming from the end of Resident Evil 7, who people didn't believe was Redfield, but in the credits of Resident Evil 7, it did give credits as that character being Chris Redfield. So I I don't know how he went from that to this gigantic lug coming in and blasting Ethan's wife. But I'm a huge fan of Chris. I love Chris.
Yeah.
Even his most ridiculous moments, punching a boulder into the lava to fight Wesker, or back in at Resident Evil 1. I think Chris is great. How he's going to tie into the story, I can't. I don't know. It's so hard to tell, because this can totally just be the usage of a trailer to make you think he's going to be evil when he really turns out to be the hero in the end. Again. But that quote, his story comes to a close, and I think it's fair to tie that to Chris. He's been in the franchise since the beginning, so it's very he deserves a fitting end. But at the same time, this game is made as Ethan's close to his story as well. That is what the directors were saying, that this is the closure to, I guess, a cliffhanger in Resident Evil 7, but I don't exactly remember there being a cliffhanger, but it has been a while since I played. But I'm again, it's just something that I'm excited and ready to see where the story takes it once the game fully releases, because it's up in the air. It's a huge toss up.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I don't know, when I look at that quote and people saying, yeah, that's got to be Chris, I'm like, nah. I don't want that to happen personally, because like you said, like, you know, I'm a fan. Like, Chris has only been here since the beginning, so I don't want to see Chris go anywhere. I mean, you only made, this is Resident Evil 8 now. I mean, do you really want to let him go at this point? It had to be him. But yeah, I mean, I don't want that to happen, and I'm a big fan of him, and I'm curious to see, like, you know, of all the things that he's kind of been throughout all the games, that like he just turns into more of this darker guy. I know he's with also, I think, like a new company too. I know there's some stuff from story that even I missed out on, but it'll be super curious to kind of see just where Chris goes in this game, and to see if he is more of this darker guy that's just, you know, just brunt, you know, he's bold, he doesn't care, just, you know, he just took out Ethan's wife. If she had a possibility to live, he didn't care. So it was super crazy to see that. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Give us your thoughts down below. Make sure to let us know if you will be getting Resident Evil Village. Be sure to stay tuned with us by subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, as we will definitely be updating you with the new information this week. Again, I'm Lethal1Up, joined by the Platinum Chin, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.